What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new to the channel, I guess I have a new name. This is my first video under the name The Mock Draft Guy. I was previously PTV Sports, but a rebrand was extremely necessary to this channel, and I'm finally really zoning in on what I really love to do, and that's bring you guys draft content, whether it be NFL, NBA, who knows, maybe in the NHL and MLB as we go along. But I'm super excited. So I've started this new series on the channel. I don't know if you guys follow my community tab, but if you do, you saw that I did post a week 1 reaction mock draft. So it is a new series that I'm going to be starting, and now I have week 2's reaction mock draft. So this will be something that I'm going to be doing every single week. Probably until the regular season is over, then I'll keep dropping one every once in a while after that. But without further ado, let's get into it. One thing I do want to note is the draft order does change every week based on basically what we've seen the week before. So if you want to quickly take a look at this draft order, be my guest before I get into actually making the pick. So here you go. Here is my draft order. And without further ado, I'm going to have to keep looking at my phone because I do have the draft order on my phone. I do not have it memorized. But so right off the bat, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I think that Seattle had a really, really nice week 1 victory against the Denver Broncos, but I've seen teams win in week 1 and then just fall flat on their face since then. I think that this is the least talented roster quarterback-wise in the NFL. So I think, this is a quarterback-driven league, so you need quarterbacks. And with a number 1 overall pick, if you're picking number 1 in a quarterback class that is like this one, we're gonna have to go with a quarterback. And I'm gonna go with Bryce Young right now. It's just the quarterback that's draft eligible that has been playing the absolute best out of everyone is Bryce Young. So I think if the draft started right now, I think Seattle would take Bryce Young. So then at number 2, Chicago Bears, another team that had a really, really nice sentimental win week 1, but we really saw their true colors in week 2. This could even be a toss-up, the Seattle Seahawks and the Chicago Bears drafting 1 or 2, but I think I don't think that Chicago would be in the market for a quarterback if they had the number 1 overall pick. At number 2, they have an opportunity to take the best player that is on the board, or the big board basically, is Will Anderson Jr. Matt Eberflus is a defensive-minded coach, and they desperately need some edge rushing help opposite Robert Quinn. Moving on to number 3, you have the Atlanta Falcons. And the Atlanta Falcons have had 2 really, really tough losses the first couple of weeks. They have definitely they have punched above their weight throughout the first couple of weeks. Absolutely. They came within a point of beating the New Orleans Saints and then had a comeback stopped by an untimely Marcus Mariota interception with 1 minute left in the fourth quarter. So I still think that, 2 losses are 2 losses, bottom line. So I don't really see them winning too many games. I think number 3, anywhere between 3 to 5 is really where they'll probably be hovering throughout the whole season. But kind of same deal with Seattle. Marcus Mariota is a great bridge quarterback. I guess they like what they have in Desmond Ridder. But if you're picking in the top 5 or even top 10 for that matter in this draft class, you're going to have to go with a quarterback. I'm going to go with CJ Stroud. Guy is just incredibly talented. I don't really have to tell you guys about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. If you guys follow college football or draft content, you know how talented those guys are. Then I have the Houston Texans at number 4, and I think the reconstruction of the lines is going to be a dominant factor in this upcoming draft. On the defensive line, they just lack a lot of talent. They have decent edge rushers. I like Jonathan Grenard a lot. I believe that. But I think with Will Anderson off the board at number 4, you have to go for the next best defensive line player, and that's Jalen Carter from Georgia. And I think that that's a really, really good fit. I'm not entirely sure who their starting defensive tackles are. I'm pretty sure it's like Ray Lopez and Malik Collins. So definitely a massive upgrade is needed on the defensive line there. So I like the fit in Houston for Jalen Carter. And moving on to number 5, and I was having a really tough time with this. The Carolina Panthers are an improved group, but they have not played well the first couple of weeks. I mean, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But with CJ Stroud and Bryce Young already gone, I don't know right now basically after week 3 of college football and week 2 of the NFL, if there's another quarterback right now that's worthy of a top 5 pick. So this was kind of a tough spot to keep the Carolina Panthers, but I do have them still taking Myles Murphy. I mean, it's been a common trend for a while now. We've seen, especially Clemson defensive linemen, edge rushers, go higher than expected. And you think of Cleveland Farrell right off the bat. But Myles Murphy is a guy who is still kind of coming into his own, putting it all together. He has all the physical tools, and that's something that we've seen that kind of matters more than production in years prior. You think of Odafe Owa in Baltimore, who had a really, really good rookie year, and I don't even think he registered a sack in his collegiate career. So I like Myles Murphy to bookend the defensive line on the other side of Brian Burns. They've been really, really looking for someone on that other side for a while. So I think Myles Murphy is the perfect complement to Brian Burns at number 5. Then at number 6, multiple different ways that the New York Jets can go here. I like Brian Breesy a lot here because I'm pretty sure Sheldon Rankins is a free agent after this year. They have Solomon Thomas locked up. They have Quinnen Williams as well. So I think they're pretty much okay on the defensive line right now. Edge, I feel like the same way. They drafted Jermaine Johnson. They're getting Carl Lawson back healthy. John Franklin Myers. I feel like they're good there. Same thing with the secondary. This is also too high to draft a linebacker as well, especially in this class. So I was really torn. With the uncertainty of Mekhi Becton, I feel like that this was the perfect spot for the first tackle to go off the board, and that's Peter Skoronski. I mean, easily the most polished tackle prospect in the draft as of right now, and I think that it's a good fit, and we know that Joe Douglas does like his offensive lineman. Moving on to number 7, nothing changes from the pick here. Only the slot from week 1. So I still have the Jacksonville Jaguars inside the top 10. They got a very, very impressive victory over the Indianapolis Colts. They shut them out. The young guys are really, really playing well. I still think that Trevor Lawrence needs a number 1 wide receiver. And I think at number 7, this is a perfect spot for the best wide receiver in the class to come off the board. That's Jackson Smith-Njigba. I'm pretty sure that Marvin Jones is a free agent after this year. Christian Kirk got paid like a number 1. Is he a number 1? Not really too sure. So you really want to get someone as explosive as Smith-Njigba in there. Then moving on to number 8, I have the Washington Commanders, who took a brutal loss to the Detroit Lions. Their defense did not look very good at all, especially at the secondary. And this is more of a futures pick here. You have William Jackson and Kyle Fuller, who are free agents after this year or after next year, I believe. But it's a very volatile position, cornerback. And I think you need as much talent at that position as you can get. So I think Kelee Ringo sitting here at number 8 is a perfect fit for the Washington Commanders right now. Moving on, number 9. This is where maybe a surprise, maybe the first surprise that I have up my sleeve here. But I'm really digging Jordan Addison to the New York Giants. There's a lot of ways that the Giants can go here. They could go quarterback. They could go cornerback. They could even surprise us and go linebacker. Trenton Simpson still on the board here. I don't really like any of the defensive linemen as of right now to fit their 3-4 scheme, especially this high. Jordan Addison has been the best wide receiver in college football so far this year, and he had a monster year last year at Pitt. Now he's at USC. I think that he's going to be a draft riser, and I'm going to start early here, and I'm going to say Jordan Addison is the number 9 overall pick to the New York Giants. Then moving on to number 10, maybe another surprise pick as well here. But I'm going to go with a cornerback for the New England Patriots, and I'm going to go with Garrett Williams. Garrett Williams has kind of float under the radar as the only ACC cornerback that was ranked inside Mel Kiper's top 10 cornerbacks, and he was PFF's number 2 rated cornerback as well, and he has played very, very well so far this season, and he has all the physical attributes, so I think it's a good fit, and plus the Patriots need as much secondary help as they can really get. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'll be pretty blunt. I'm going to be blunt with this until something changes. The Pittsburgh Steelers just need offensive line help. Their tackles might be 2 of the worst, maybe the worst bookend in the NFL. That's not a knock on them. They're still good players, but they definitely need an upgrade, especially at the left tackle position. Dan Moore Jr. was statistically the worst graded left tackle in the NFL last year, and he hasn't been having a good season so far this year. So I think Broderick Jones is a solid pick here. I was going to go Paris Johnson, but Broderick Jones is a guy who still has to fill out. I believe he is 6'6". He's around 310 pounds, so a little light for an offensive lineman, but if he could fill out, he's got all the attributes to be a fine left tackle in the NFL. Then moving on to number 12, you have the Las Vegas Raiders, who are at a disappointing 0-2 so far through 2 weeks. I'll be honest with you, same thing, same dig. There's a lot of ways that they can go, but I'm going to say that they need defensive line help. It's kind of a similar situation with the Houston Texans. It's not great, and a lot of guys are free agents after this year. And with Brian Breesy still sitting on the board, who is a top prospect at number 12, I feel like it's a no-brainer here. It just seems like a really, really good fit. Then moving on to number 13, this is the first time that you have the Philadelphia Eagles up. They have 2 picks. This is not their pick. This is the New Orleans Saints pick at number 13. And I'm going to say they go with Andre Carter. For the first time since 1940, I do believe that an Army player is going to go in the first round. Andre Carter is an absolute animal. 6'7", 260 pounds. Just an absolute beast. 15.5 sacks last year. I'm pretty sure he's got like 2.5 already this year as well. He's just been fantastic so far this year, and I think it's a great fit. They do need some edge rushing help with Brandon Graham being in his mid-30s and free agent after this year as well. Then I have the Tennessee Titans up next, and maybe another surprise pick here this early, but I am going to go with Javon Dexter. You might think he's undersized for what he's going to be playing a nose tackle position, but Jair Tart is much smaller than Javon Dexter, and he is playing in the nose tackle position. I think that he's a guy that's extremely disruptive from the inside, and he could also kick out and play edge as well, which is crazy at 312 pounds. So I think that's a great fit, and I think adding to that defensive line is probably the best shot that the Tennessee Titans have at sustaining somewhat success. So I like Javon Dexter Sr. here. Then at number 15, similar to the Carolina Panthers, I think you have to continue to build. You have one great edge rusher on one side, and Aiden Hutchinson is coming off of a 3-sack week, his first 3 sacks in his career. He looks to be a superstar in the making. And then you have Charles Harris on the other side, and then a whole lot of nothing. Romeo Okwara is good when he's healthy, but he's proved over the last couple of years that he just cannot stay healthy. Felix Anudike-Uzomah is another guy, just like Andre Carter, who has just flown under the radar the last season and 2 games. Another guy who had 15.5 sacks last year. Similar build to Andre Carter as well. And I think that if you can get Anudike-Uzomah and Aiden Hutchinson on the same line, good luck to the opposing quarterback. Then moving on, number 16. This is where another quarterback comes off the board for me here. And it's going to be Will Levis. A lot of teams love Will Levis. He hasn't gotten off to the strongest start of the season, but he has beaten Florida, and his Kentucky team is 3-0. Will Levis has all the tools. He's got the physical stature as well. He's got a good arm. He's good accuracy, great mobility. I think Will Levis is a fine prospect for the Indianapolis Colts, and the reason why is because we have to stop this veteran conveyor belt that is just going through Indianapolis. I mean, they just need to buckle down, and it seems like this team is really, really talented. There may be one more decent weapon and a franchise quarterback away from being a possible Super Bowl contender. I know that's crazy to say, but look at their roster, and it is extremely well constructed. So I think adding Will Levis and maybe keeping Matt Ryan for another year to have Will Levis kind of learn and then eventually take over would be extremely beneficial in the long run for the Indianapolis Colts. Houston Texans, again, a ton of free agents in the secondary after this year. And the secondary play, besides for Derek Stingley, has not been good so far. So I'm really feeling like Antonio Johnson. The reason why I'm feeling Antonio Johnson is because he also takes snaps at safety as well. So he's extremely versatile. And I am a big fan of versatility in the secondary. Then moving on to number 18, I have the Arizona Cardinals, a team that desperately needs some offensive line help. Kelvin Beachum is going to be a free agent, and he is also not that great as well at his age 34 season. So getting someone like Paris Johnson, who might be able to just kick over and play right tackle for now until DJ Humphries either retires or is on another team, I think that would be wise. You have to build your offensive line as well, and their offensive line is getting up there in age, and it is not great. So starting fresh with a new tackle would be ideal. Moving on to number 19, I have the Dallas Cowboys, and Dallas Cowboys love their first round linebackers, got to tell you. And I think that the trend continues here. Trenton Simpson still on the board, a really, really good 4-3 outside linebacker. Give me that for the Dallas Cowboys right there. Then at number 20, I have the Seattle Seahawks. This is Denver's pick at number 20 here. And they need cornerback help. I'm pretty sure like everyone and their mother is going to be a free agent. And don't get me wrong, I love Tariq Woolen, and I thought that he was a great, great prospect. I thought he should have went higher than he did this past year, but he is starting right away. And that could be a testament to his talents. That also could be the fact that he's just kind of thrown into a starting position because of how poor the cornerback play has been for Seattle. So I think Eli Ricks makes a lot of sense. An SEC battle-tested cornerback would be essential for a team, a division that boasts the likes of Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford, guys who really just like to throw the ball down the field. I like Eli Ricks there. Number 21, I have the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think this is a perfect place for the one and only tight end that I have in the first round going off the board, Michael Mayer. Is he the greatest athlete for a tight end? No. Is he reliable? Does he get open? Is he strong? Is he physical? Is he a great blocker? He is all those things. The athletics, he's a good athlete. Is he elite? No, but I think Michael Mayer is a fine pick here. Hayden Hurst has been pretty good so far this year, I would say. He's a free agent. Drew Sample is also a free agent as well. So I don't think that it's a guarantee that they sign both of those guys, especially if Hayden Hurst continues to have a good season. He might look to sign somewhere else. So I really like starting young and fresh with a guy who can catch a lot of passes and block very well as well in Michael Mayer. And moving on, 22, we kind of saw it. Besides for Kirk Cousins playing awful against the Philadelphia Eagles, we kind of saw them struggle, especially down the field covering Quez Watkins. That was a little alarming to me. I thought for a long time that the Minnesota Vikings need a battery mate on the opposite side of Cameron Dantzler. And, Patrick Peterson blocked a field goal last night. He's still making plays in at his advanced age. That's great. But when you play in a division with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback in your division, you need as much secondary help as you can get. So I have the Minnesota Vikings taking Cam Smith. Cam Smith is someone that I have been super high on basically since I did my way too early mock draft, the 2 days after the 2022 NFL draft. Another guy, similar, battle-tested, and in the SEC. And you might say, oh, well, South Carolina just got blown out by Georgia 48-7. Not to say that they wouldn't have gotten blown out, but Cam Smith did not play in that game, and he has been fine so far this year. And he's going to be a riser in this draft class, mark my words. I do like Cam Smith right there. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens, and I have the Ravens dipping into the wide receiver pool. I really like what I've seen from Rashad Bateman so far this year. I think that he is a budding wide receiver one superstar in the making. But behind that, Devin Duvernay is cool, but he's also really more of a return guy. Don't let 4 catches for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Jets convince you otherwise. I think that they desperately need a wide receiver too. Jay Proche and those guys, Miles Boykin, they're not going to cut it. I really like Keyshawn Boutte here, and he's been a real faller, even in my mock here, because I'm pretty sure after week 1, I had him going at like number 7 to the New York Giants. And you could attest that to poor quarterback play at LSU, but I think that he's going to be a guy that once the combine comes around, we're all going to realize yet again why we thought Keyshawn Boutte was a potential wide receiver 1 in the class. Then moving on, I have the Miami Dolphins here. It kills me here. I really, really want to go with Bijan Robinson. I really do. But I think that with the outside linebacker position outside of Jalen Phillips is really weak, especially after this year. The opposing outside linebacker, Andrew Van Ginkel, is a free agent after this year. And I got to believe that they're going to dip into that outside linebacker pool. And now Nolan Smith is here as an edge rusher, but make no mistake about it. He is like 6'6", 235 pounds. He is an outside linebacker if I've ever seen one. And he is absolutely phenomenal. He's got all the attributes to be a fantastic player at the next level. Same thing, production, not so much there, but it's more of the attributes and the talent factor. and Nolan Smith definitely has that. Then the second pick for the Detroit Lions in my first round here, this is the LA Rams pick, and I have them taking Brandon Joseph. And the reason I have them taking a safety is pretty much the same reason as a lot of other teams. But if you look at who's a free agent after this upcoming season, basically every single safety on the roster is a free agent now. I could totally see them bringing back Deshaun Elliott. He's a young, good player, hook 'em horns. But really behind that, it's not much. I think Brandon Joseph kind of has flown back under the radar because Notre Dame is not very good for the most part. But he is safety number one on my board. And a lot of people's boards, actually. He's got all the attributes, and you forget how well he played at Northwestern before he transferred over to Notre Dame. So I like Brandon Joseph there. Then the Philadelphia Eagles with their second first-round pick. This is actually theirs. And I got to go with Bijan Robinson. Miles Sanders, free agent. He's good. I don't know if they'll bring him back. I'm pretty sure Boston Scott is a free agent as well. So that leaves a young Kenneth Gainwell and then room for a workhorse, and Bijan Robinson is a workhorse. One of the best running back prospects I've ever seen. If Bijan Robinson wasn't in here, I'd say Devin Ashaney was the number one running back. But Bijan Robinson is probably RB1 in a lot of classes. So I think that would be a fantastic pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles. The next pick, I had the Miami Dolphins yet again. That first pick was from the San Francisco 49ers. This one is forfeited because of tampering, so we moved down to pick 27, and I have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Noah Sewell. I really like what they have in Kenneth Murray. He is a coverage linebacker, covers the tight ends, covers the running backs very, very well out of the backfield. But they don't have a downhill force at running back. Troy Reader is basically a carbon copy, not to the extent he's not as good, but basically a similar type of linebacker to Kenneth Murray. They really need someone who is a big bruiser that is a run stopper. And that's exactly what Noah Sewell is. And I really like the fit there at 27. Then at number 28, I can't tell you how many times I have mocked a wide receiver in round one to the Green Bay Packers. I think this might finally be the year that they get it done. Now I know that after week one, it was very apparent that they needed more wide receiving help. Sammy Watkins, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Amari Rodgers, Randall Cobb. Those guys aren't going to cut it. And they did play better in week two. They also did play the Bears, but Aaron Rodgers didn't completely light it up through the air either. A number one wide receiver weapon to replace Devontae Adams. Not going to say that he does, but Quentin Johnston is really, really good. I'm pretty sure he led the NCAA in yards per catch last year. He is just lightning in a bottle every time he touches the ball, and that's exactly what the Green Bay Packers need. Then at number 29, Kansas City. Kansas City, Tampa, and Buffalo are kind of in the same boat as to they really just have the pick of the litter. The best player who's left in the draft, I feel like they will just go out and pick. But I think Jacqueline Roy makes a lot of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't get me wrong, I think Derek Nottie is a very fine defensive tackle, but Jacqueline Roy next to Chris Jones is music to my ears right here, especially at the back end of the first round. Then moving on to the Bucs, I think this is finally the time. I mean, if it's ever apparent, Tom Brady is probably off to the worst start in his career, and he's still 2-0. Just a testament to how much of a winning mentality he has and he brings to the table. But I think it's time to really sack up, buckle down, and draft your future quarterback. Tanner McKee, 6'6", 230 pounds, mobile, big arm, accurate, smart, Stanford Cardinal. Sign me up. And then with the final pick in the first round here, I have the Buffalo Bills taking Brian Branch. It says he's a cornerback, but he's really a safety. Pretty straightforward. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are probably the best safety tandem in the NFL and have been for a couple of years now. But they are getting older. They are on the wrong side of 30 as well. So I think it is time to get another young, talented safety in there that can maybe take a little bit of the load off of those guys while they get up there in age. They're in their early 30s, but you get what I'm talking about. And there you have it. There is my first round mock draft after week 2 of the NFL season. If you guys didn't get a chance or you missed a pick, Here you go. I'm just going to scroll through these real quick so you can see the draft order and you can see where I drafted everyone. Like I said, please let me know if you guys like this series. This is something that I'm having a ton of fun doing, a ton of fun researching, and it's only going to get better as the year goes on as we learn more about these prospects and we learn more about these NFL teams. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Mock Draft Guy out.